Ever get that feeling like you're just kind of going through the motions with your marketing tasks?
Yeah.
Not really connecting with the bigger picture, like the financial side of
Oh,
things.
yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
It's like, am I actually making a real difference here or just, well, checking boxes?
It's a pretty common struggle for marketers.
Yeah. And so today we're diving into something that really shifted our perspective on this whole thing.
Mhm.
Giving marketing teams ownership over their budgets.
That's right.
We actually tried this out ourselves, and the results, I gotta say, were pretty remarkable.
It really were, yeah.
We even wrote an article about it called Sharing Budget Accountability in Marketing Teams Maximizes Business Impact.
Had to share what we learned.
Exactly. It wasn't always smooth sailing,
Definitely not.
but we stuck with it, and now we want to kind of walk you through our experience and the key things we took away from it.
Basically, the core idea is that when you give marketers that control over their program spending and then hold them accountable for the results,
Right.
you can kind of trigger this really powerful shift in their mindset.
It's like flipping a switch. Suddenly you're not just,
Yeah.
checking things off a list.
Yeah.
You're like a mini CEO running your own little business unit.
Exactly. And let's take a real example here. Before we did this whole budget ownership thing,
Okay.
our content marketing manager, she was spreading funds across all these different channels without a super clear idea of what was actually driving results.
Oh, I remember those days. Spreadsheets galore.
So many spreadsheets.
But then when we gave her control over her budget and tied her performance to specific financial targets,
Right.
things really changed.
Oh, yeah. She became laser focused on that ROI.
Uh,
Instead of just blindly allocating funds, she started analyzing what was working, what wasn't, and where she could really get the most out of every dollar.
it totally transformed how she made decisions.
Completely.
But it wasn't just about the numbers, was it? I saw a huge change in her motivation and creativity, too.
Absolutely. When you have that power to make decisions that directly impact, the bottom line, it just becomes way more engaging and fulfilling.
So how did you connect those investments to the expected returns? We
Yeah.
get pretty specific with setting those KPIs, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Let's take our digital marketing manager, for example.
Good.
Her job was to get new LinkedIn followers. So instead of just focusing on engagement,
Right.
we gave her a budget and a KPI of getting followers at a cost of like $0.20 each.
Mm-hmm.
We based that number on industry standards and what advertising usually costs.
Yeah.
Gave her a solid financial goal to shoot for.
And she totally crushed it.
She did.
I mean, by having that clear target, she could really optimize her campaigns and make sure every dollar was spent effectively.
Yeah,
It's pretty amazing what a shift in perspective can do.
it really is.
But it goes beyond just individual performance, doesn't it? This whole approach had a ripple effect on the team.
Oh, you're totally right. When we went all in on budget accountability,
Yeah.
it shifted everyone's mindset from just tasks to really thinking about the business first.
Like we all leveled up as a team.
It's sad.
It wasn't about checking things off a list anymore. It was about thinking strategically about every single decision, every dollar.
Right. It became all about how does this contribute to the company's success?
Yeah.
And that led to way more data-driven budget discussions.
Mhm.
Instead of just top-down orders, it was a team effort where everyone wanted to find the best way to use resources.
I remember being so surprised by how much more engaged the team got.
Me too.
They were really taking ownership of their work, and it showed in the results.
That's the beauty of it. It's a win-win.
Yeah.
But I know what you're thinking.
What's that?
Okay, sounds great in theory, but how do we actually make this happen?
Well, luckily,
Luckily,
we came up with a 5-step process
we did.
that we outline in the article.
Yeah.
And it breaks down the implementation into, clear, actionable steps.
And we'll dive into those steps in more detail after a quick break. Stay with us.
Okay, so we're back and ready to break down these 5 steps to budget ownership.
Yeah, before we jump in, though, I think it's important to remember, we didn't just, come up with this process out of nowhere.
Right.
These steps, they came from, our own struggles and successes as we were figuring things out.
Exactly. We made mistakes, learned from them, and just kept refining our approach.
Yeah, you could say these steps are battle-tested.
That's a good way to put it.
So step 1 is all about assigning that budget ownership.
Okay.
It might sound simple, but there's more to it than just, handing someone a spreadsheet and saying, here you go.
Right.
It's about giving them real control over their program's budget and making them directly responsible for how it performs.
One of the biggest challenges we had to overcome with our team was that feeling of, wait, I'm in charge of what now? There was some definite hesitation at first.
Totally understandable.
Mm,
It's a big change, especially if people are used to a more, top-down way of managing budgets.
right.
But that's where step 2 comes in,
Yeah.
setting those clear performance targets.
Mm.
We've touched on this a bit already, but it's so important to lay out measurable goals and give a dollar value to what you expect to see.
We learned the hard way that if you're going to hold someone accountable for their budget, you got to be super clear about what success actually means and how it translates into, like, actual financial terms.
Exactly. And that takes us to step 3. Encouraging those dollar-driven decisions.
Okay.
This is where things really get real. It's about pushing the team to really look at their results, compare them to those financial targets, and then adjust their spending based on what's working and what's,
I remember when we first started doing this, some people on the team felt kind of overwhelmed.
yeah.
They weren't used to thinking about their marketing stuff in such a, I guess, financially rigorous way.
It is a different way of thinking, for sure. But we found that with the right support and guidance, people got the hang of it pretty quickly. We started holding regular budget reviews, which is step 4, to talk about performance, work through any challenges, and brainstorm ways to make things even better.
Those budget reviews were so helpful. Just having a set time to have those open conversations and solve problems together was huge.
Yeah, and they really helped reinforce step 5, promoting that transparency.
Right.
By sharing those insights into, marketing spending and performance across the whole company, it created this sense of, like, collective ownership and accountability.
It wasn't about individual silos anymore. We were all in it together, working towards the same goal.
Exactly. But, even with these steps in place, actually putting it all into practice can still be tricky.
Oh, yeah, we hit our fair share of roadblocks along the way.
Definitely.
Like, I remember dealing with some pushback from some of the higher-ups who weren't so keen on giving up control of the budget.
We also had to, really work on building up our data systems to make sure we could actually track and measure everything properly.
Yeah, that was no small feat.
It wasn't always easy.
But we learned from each obstacle and kept tweaking things.
Yeah, and honestly, the positive impact it had on the team's performance and the company's bottom line made it all worth it.
I agree. It really did. Now, we know that not every organization is going to have the same experience.
Oh, of course not.
There will be unique challenges depending on your specific situation.
For sure.
That's exactly why we wanted to share our story, to show that it's possible and offer some guidance on how to navigate the process.
And to show that you don't have to have all the answers right away. It's a journey,
It is.
And it's okay to learn and adapt as you go.
Thinking about all the challenges of making this budget ownership thing work, it kind of makes me think about the tools and resources that can help make the process smoother.
Oh, for sure. Having the right tools is essential, especially when your team and budgets are growing,
Right. Remember all those spreadsheets we used to wrestle with?
Oh, yeah.
Talk about a recipe for confusion.
Definitely not efficient.
Not at all. But, one of the things that really changed the game for us was finding this tool called Revup Marketing. It's like a marketing financial performance platform that has basically streamlined our whole budget management process.
Seriously, it's been a lifesaver.
I know, right?
Revup Marketing helps us do everything like allocating budgets, giving people responsibility, and even monitoring performance all in real time. All in one place.
Yeah.
No more hunting down spreadsheets or trying to make sense of data from a million different sources.
What I really love about Revup Marketing is how easy it makes it to track our progress against those, financial KPIs we were talking about. We can instantly see how each program is doing against its budget and figure out where we need to tweak things.
That kind of visibility is so important.
It is.
It gives our marketing team the power to make decisions based on data and really get the most out of their spending, which is something we just couldn't do before.
And, besides the practical benefits, Revup Marketing has actually had a positive effect on our team culture, too.
Oh, yeah.
It's created more transparency and accountability because everyone has access to the same info and can see how their work fits into the bigger picture.
It's really brought our team together around those shared financial goals.
It has.
Now, we're not saying Revup Marketing is the only answer out there.
Right.
There are other great tools available, and what works best for you will depend on, your needs and budget.
Exactly. But the main takeaway here is that investing in the right tools can make a huge difference when you're trying to implement this budget ownership thing effectively.
It can definitely make the process smoother, more efficient, and ultimately more successful.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into budget ownership, I think it's important to emphasize that this is more than just a financial strategy.
Yeah, it's like a cultural shift.
Right. It can totally change how your marketing team operates.
It's all about empowering your team, thinking about the business first, and making decisions based on data.
And it's about understanding that marketing isn't just a cost.
Right.
It's an investment that can bring in serious returns for your business.
Absolutely. When you give your marketing team control over the budget, you're basically unleashing their potential to drive real measurable results.
We've seen it happen with our own team,
Yeah.
and we truly believe it can have the same transformative impact on yours.
So if you're ready to take your marketing team to the next level,
Yeah.
think about embracing these principles of budget ownership.
Challenge the way things are done, empower your team, and watch them become real drivers of growth and profitability.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We hope you got a lot out of it.